Ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are going to check out the live stream for Act 2, the developer live stream. We're going to check it out and see what it's all about. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So let's see.
So hopefully players will be excited too when we show
points about what we're going to be looking at today.
By the way, I just want to point out before we get really into the stream, I still don't think these are actually live. I think these are pre-recorded. I just generally, if I don't see them reading chat, I just assume this is pre-recorded because it's easier to do ahead of time and just upload it. I'm a little disappointed because, yeah, like if this was Warframe, they would absolutely be doing it live and interacting with the community. Bungie just gives off this face that they care. I've yet to really see them actually reach the potential that Warframe has when it comes to actually caring about their community.
So, without further ado, I vote we go ahead and just dive on into the stream and get this moving along because there's some cool stuff to show you. Starting with
By the way, I do have the sound up to like max, so if it's not loud for you guys, I don't know what to tell y'all.
You may know very well, if you've joined us for our Into the Light streams, you've seen him in action before and played his content as well during that time. Associate designer here at Bungie, Noah Lee. How's it going, Noah?
Yeah, great, Andy.
Noah's a legend. Listen, I like this guy. He's probably one of the few Bungie employees that I'd be like, yo, I would play with this guy. So, like, Sony, if you ever want to, like, disband Bungie, make sure this guy goes with whatever team is working with Destiny, because this guy, this is the guy. This is the dude, the Chad.
Thanks for the introduction. I'm very excited to show off this Act 2 activity. I don't want to spoil too much. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited, so hopefully players will be excited too when we show it off.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. But before...
By the way, he introduced Into the Light. Into the Light was a banger. So I do have some hopium that this activity also is dope.
That for anyone who may not have met you in our past streams, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so I, as an activity designer, you know, it's in the name. We make the activities that players play, and generally everything that players interact with when you load into an activity is something that activity design has touched, whether that be the enemies, the faction you fight, like the encounters, the exact tasks that we're asking you to do, all the way to the objectives and directives, and just general the activity flow.
Nice.
We care a lot about all that, and there's a wide amount of activity designers doing a wide amount of content.
Yeah.
I have the pleasure of being the Act 2 content for
Woo! So that gets, maybe this will be the banger act. We'll find out.
Not just Atlanta where the players play, but Destiny 2 as well.
Exactly. You know I'm from Atlanta, right?
No, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. I was just trying to make a reference that aged me. That's very cool. Also, next to him as well, we're being joined for the first time by Associate Weapons Designer.
I'll be honest, this is Deej, and I don't care. I just want to get into the juice.
Eduardo as well.
Thank you. That's right. Lest we forget. All right. So we have a lot of stuff to go ahead and move along into. I vote we go ahead and start with you, Noah. Before we dive into the gameplay, just very briefly, we're now about to arrive in Act 2 of Revenant. Can you tell us a little bit about Act 1 and what got us to where we are today?
Absolutely. So as players know, we were tracking down House Salvation on Europa, and we ended up discovering that Fickrell has found a paracausal echo, and he's able to make newly Revenant Scorn from living Elixni as opposed to dead Elixni.
Yeah.
So we went across the system, freeing Elixni from the onslaught.
Oh God, he did a play on words.
Scorn hordes and, you know, disrupting the Revenant Scorn nest all across the system.
Which I do want to say that I'm gonna admit that I'm one of the few who actually did enjoy the Act 1. Granted, it was very short. It was so short, and a lot of it was reused assets and yada, yada, yada. At this point, I've given up. I'm just tooting a dead horn at this point. But the theme and the story I enjoyed, I think, more than some other people did. It is 10 times better than Echoes, regardless whether you like Act or Episode 2 or not. It is so much better than Echoes. So that was a low bar to pass.
Now we're hot on Fickrell's trail, and we've found our way back to the reef. So, you know, some Destiny players that maybe have a longer tenure might have an idea of what Fickrell might be interested in terms of reef-bound system stuff.
Very interesting, which I will say, very
the reef. It's almost like we had that, the Tango Shore, but then they removed it. Huh. It would be nice to have that back.
conveniently, excellent segue, thank you, leads us to our first batch of gameplay.
Exactly.
For, again, the Destiny vets out there, the Destiny 1 players who may be still with us as well, myself included, we are returning to an activity that's been reprised from the Destiny 1 days.
Absolutely.
Noah, can you tell us what we're getting into here?
Prison of
you said
Elders.
returning. I'd like to say this activity was reimagined.
Yeah.
Instead of it being the Prison of Elders from Destiny 1, this is now a Tomb of Elders. This
Okay.
activity specifically is Contest of Elders, actually. Now, I'm going to want the fire team.
Wait. So it was teased that was Tomb of Elders, but they changed it to Contest? Why did they change it from Tomb to Contest? Because it literally shows in-game Tomb, but now it's Contest. That's weird.
I'm going to hold up a little bit because I want to describe it a little bit for the audience.
Excellent.
So if those who are familiar with things like Deep Dives or The Coil and Riven's Lair from Season 23, this is a similar kind of activity where it's a longer tail, more roguelite activity. One of our design tenets was we wanted to make it as variable as possible.
Yeah.
And we'll go into a lot of what makes it as variable as it is. But in general, it follows a lot of the beats from Prison of Elders and Destiny 1, which is, you go to arenas, complete encounters, and all this while the spooky, scary Warden is kind of in your ear, kind of egging you on.
Yeah.
Instead of it being Varix, it's the Warden servitor.
Yeah.
And
Which
players
is
are trying to
Varix.
placate this Warden rather than, rebel against him. So
Yeah.
the more you do that he says, you'll actually get more loot. And we'll go into that a little bit.
But didn't we kill the Warden? Like that was lower accurate. We killed the Warden. So is there another one? I'm so weird. It's so
more in the
weird.
future.
Excellent. A lot of chances to test out your Varix impressions, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. We'll hear a
So,
little
yeah, give it time.
Brawn.
We'll get there, absolutely. All right. So,
Okay,
let's
so
go
the
ahead and
brawn
kick things off.
modifier is
So,
active.
with this, was it basically just bringing back kind of the activity from Destiny 1, same races, same bosses, and everything, or what are you guys
Absolutely
trying to
not.
do?
We wanted to.
Oh,
I think
good.
The key that I was really excited about was I had a rule which was we want to keep the best parts of Prison of Elders that people love, the most iconic aspects. So, things like dismantle mines. We might have some fan favorite taken bosses and other bosses that people remember.
Yeah.
But the main thing was being able to modernize it to not only the new Destiny sandbox that we have, but just the new vibe. We're in a vampire hunter season.
Yeah.
Why not go back to the derelict Prison of Elders and hunt more vampires?
Yeah.
And like you said about factions, in the old Prison of Elders, it was the Fallen, the Cabal, the Hive, the Vex.
Okay.
We don't have the Vex anymore. It's the Dread now, being led by the Taken forces.
Very cool.
Instead of the regular Cabal, we have the Shadow Legion. Instead of
I think that's fine. Honestly, if they just copy pasted Prison of Elders for what it was, I think people would be screaming recycled content. Now you could argue it is recycled content. Actually, you could just argue that all of Destiny, they're using the same enemies, they're using the same. Let's be honest. Most of Destiny is just recycled, and you could just say that that's for every game. At least, the vibe, they're changing it. It's not like the same maps, which is great. It looks like it's going to be all fresh, which I'm down for. I'm down for having a new map-like area. So, and it's the Tangle Shore, which we have not had for years. So it's a welcome change of pace.
normal Hive, we have the Lucent Hive, and we have the Revenant Scorn instead of the Fallen. So
which is
changed
great.
up all the races, and you'll be able to see it's really apparent when you go to their arenas since they're all themed based on the races.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So I'm
some of
gonna
these
bug you about
characters we haven't had a lot
bosses,
with.
Can you tell us just a little bit about what we're seeing here, whether it's the modifiers or anything like that? I noticed there's obviously a lot of chances to test your skill here against the modifiers you guys have put
Oh,
in.
yeah. So we, for those who are familiar with the Legacy Prison of Elders, there were a bunch of modifiers that were on a rotation. Some were kind of beneficial, like Solar Burn.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the enemies give you...
I remember. Who remembers doing Prison of Elders and it was solar and people were like, hey, guys, get your galleys because we're just going to destroy everything. That was the low-key how you ran Prison of Elders, was just using Galahorn.
damage, but you can kind of deal some.
Yeah.
And this, all of them
Okay,
are
so
not
we have Hive
beneficial.
Guardians too. That's great.
Actually, as a quick segue, we saw Urrox there. He was an old Destiny 1 Prison of Elders boss, a legacy boss.
Yeah.
And he's come back as a Lucent Hive Guardian.
That's
and we
dope.
have some other few bosses who have come back from the grave.
Yeah. I mean, given that he's no longer just a Hive Knight, he's got both the big shields and everything. He's ready to go ahead and be
Well, he's
brought back
dead
to the power
now.
of light.
And as we just
some
saw,
new
we
challenges.
have some UI too that we were able to bring
yeah.
back from the Legacy Prison of Elders. Every time you get a new modifier, it appears on the screen in the middle of the screen, and you're able to be like, oh, it's Chill Touch or it's Counterfeit.
Yeah.
'Cause we
That's
have some of
great.
The new modifiers that were in.
I'm gonna be honest. I wish we could have those modifiers in all parts of the game. Like, You load up a raid. You see, as soon as you load in, you see all the modifiers. When you do a Grandmaster, you see all the modifiers. Just as a quick reminder, like, okay, this is what you got going on. Or if you're like, oh, crap. I think it's just a small quality of life change. But I would like to see it across the game and not just Prison of Elders or, sorry, Contest of Elders.
Episode Revenant that are in here. We got Counterfeit. We got Haste. We got Brawn, if people have had experience with that.
Please tell me
And a few other things
Scintillation's
like
not in it.
Scrapper, Scrapper,
No one likes
Grounded, a few other
Scintillation.
things.
Yeah, yeah.
That mod
Rotate
sucks.
A lot of
Counterfeit,
opportunities to
huh?
get good.
Yeah,
Well,
opportunities to run around, grab your ammo, and then turn out it's a bomb. Oops.
I love that one. That's one of my favorite perks, actually.
that never happens to me all the time.
Chill touch. Being hit
No,
by a melee slows
It's
you.
really nice that
We've
it
had
pops
that in
up
the
as
past.
a
That's
no,
nothing new,
Yeah, I
chat.
want to
No,
shout
you're
out.
getting into
I want to shout out our engineering team for being able to bring this in, and our UI team for kind of everyone came together and had a strike force so that we could bring this back. It was no small feat, but I'm glad it works. As we intended.
Yeah.
So they've taken some time and effort into this content. How much of this content's staying? We have Onslaught, which we already have Onslaught. Does that mean those Onslaught maps are disappearing? And this is Contest of Elders. Is this staying? Is that why they're doing less? Because if you think about it, this is all we're getting. They did not showcase, like, Echoes had more, but in my opinion, it was not good. Like, Echoes had the worst activities, whereas this has one activity each act. The quality is probably going to be much better. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to really enjoy Contest of Elders. I have a big issue with it, though. I have a massive issue with it, and I'll get to it in a minute. I just want to see what they do. Maybe my concern and my thought is going to be taken care of. But I have a big issue with, like, replayability of Contest of Elders. We're gonna hold it and see.
No, we appreciate it. As someone who intends to spend a ridiculous amount of time in here, thank you, and yours for your hard work.
Absolutely.
So-
I kind of wanted to talk about one more thing
Yeah.
in terms of how this activity is structured.
Yeah.
I'd say it's very close to Riven's Lair. For those who remembered, Riven's Lair, you kind of had a trap room, then an encounter, then another trap room, then a boss. In this, it's slightly more action focused. So we have, as we saw, that cryopod encounter first. Then
If they're making this to be similar to the Coil / Riven's Lair, they're literally the same thing. The Coil / Riven's Lair is exactly the same thing. They're just, one was for the casuals and one's for the diehards. If it's going to be the same kind of style, this is going to be really good because I really did enjoy the Coil. I just didn't think outside of the fusion scatter signal, the loot was garbage and the season itself was garbage. Like, it was season of copy pasta outside of the Coil. The Coil was the only redeeming thing. So if he's taking some of the concepts of the Coil and putting it in here, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Prison Contest of Elders might be a banger.
you'll have a faction encounter. It'll take you to a random arena throughout the prison. It's still shaped like the spokes, like in the original Prison of Elders. Then you'll have a short traversal section, and then you'll have a boss. And then after that, you will get pulled into the warden's office and get your loot, and then you'll run around the loop again. In every single encounter, you're going to have a challenge, and for bosses specifically, you're going to have a critical objective. And that kind of all goes into like this in-activity reputation system that's called the Warden's Judgment. When you read the rules, for all my players who like to read, you can see what that is, but I know people don't read, so I'm going to try to explain it the best I can.
Why were you staring right at me when you said that? That's so weird.
I appreciate the honesty. Yes, no, you should assume that your players aren't going to read, and you should just absolutely just explain it off the rip. Sorry.
That's okay. I literally will look at it and I'll be like,
I'll figure.
Launch.
Yeah, there it is. Yep. That is the Destiny 2 way.
Judgment is a pretty simple but kind of complicated mechanic we have that's meant to address some of the feedback that we've gotten from the Coil specifically. So for those who are very experienced with that activity, people were very much questioning, how do you get to the wish chamber? Like, how many wishing glass you need to get? Like, if you felt like...
Yeah, I'm going to say this right now. The Coil, the thing that... It was Zelda Simulator. Like, Zelda, if you've ever played Zelda, like, I know about the meme where you would just go around, you break pots. And that's pretty much what you did in the Coil, is you had to break pots and then kill one random glowy dude. And then you were able to get enough points to go to the wishing chamber, which was really stupid. So if this is their way of saying, hey, do all these objectives and they kind of give you enough points or favor to go to the treasure room, which you get the good, that's significantly better in my opinion. I think anything that requires you to collect crap in order to get, if it's not based on your how you play versus a collecting simulator, like that, no one gives a crap. No one wants that garbage. So I'm okay with having to meet certain challenges. Now I'm wondering, what if you suck? And I'm not saying for me. I'm thinking about blueberries, 9-to-5 dads, people who maybe struggle in general content. How can are they going to be locked out? Maybe we're going to find out, but I'll keep watching.
Like, you didn't get the loot goblin, you were like, oh, I didn't get the wish chamber. We found out statistically that most people had already surpassed the threshold they need to get to the wish chamber, but it just missing out things felt bad, and it initially kind of like hampers your desire to keep going because you might be like, well,
I think the concept of loot goblin is really cool. It just wasn't done right.
I don't want to get to the very end and see if I didn't get to it.
Right. Yeah.
So to address that, the Warden's Judgment is kind of like a inactivity way to check how well you're doing. There will be a buff on the top of your screen, and it'll kind of dictate how well you're doing. So when you complete a challenge or a bonus objective, your Warden's Judgment will increase. It can get all the way up to favor times 1 to 3. If you do not complete the objective within the time limit, you will go down a level. And if you're in Warden's Punishment, the activity gets a little bit easier. We have less elites, less mini bosses, and our high-value targets that are called model prisoners will be elites, and they give you a revive token on death.
Okay.
Oh,
but
so
the
there
better
are.
You do. We have.
Oh, I just realized there are tokens. Okay, so they brought back the coil-style token regeneration. I don't know how I feel about that. So my big thing was score and tokens with the coil because they had both, and I thought it was really stupid. Like, why is there score? Why is there tokens? Have one or the other. So I'm hoping that the score really doesn't matter as long as you're playing the thing. But I hate the combination of both because it's really freaking stupid.
Things that are going to try to hamper you. We'll have traps in the arena. We'll have increased mini bosses, and when you're at favor times 3, the ultimate test, because you want to stay at that the whole time for max rewards.
Yeah.
Your bonus objective time limits will be reduced by around 30%.
Okay.
So
wow.
Some things may take, maybe you have 2.5 minutes to complete something, and then it becomes 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or you have a minute and 30 seconds, and maybe it becomes just a minute. It gets a little bit tougher. Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's kind of.
Okay, so find and defeat the challenging combatant. You have a minute. Warden's Judgment. So I see what you're talking about. So would this be like 40 seconds or something if it was 30 off? I don't remember.
The core about this activity that makes it cool.
I don't know.
People say that these activities kind of take a long time sometimes. You have 40, 50, maybe 60-minute activities.
Yeah.
That was a problem with the coil. You'd spend like 40 minutes on the coil, and it was like, bro, I want the loot at the end, but I don't want to spend half my life doing this. And Onslaught also takes a lot of time, which I know if I do Onslaught, I'm there for the ride. But if that's the only seasonal activity, I mean, you're screwing off a lot of the community.
The better you do, the Warden can actually allow you to skip an encounter. And we've had
that's cool.
Runs that can last 28 minutes, 30 minutes, and that's when you're getting the most rewards. So this is kind of promoting, like, maybe you'll get bad luck and have some bad encounters.
Sure.
But the more you run it, you'll get more experience. You'll understand.
They did the challenge.
And you'll be able to get a lot of rewards really fast and kind of experience the whole prison of elders in this new light.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Build into it a bit.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, to the community, what was that again? 28 minutes, you said?
28.
All right. When it comes out next week, the issue
They'll
has been
blow past
challenged.
that. They'll blow past.
No, I'm sure, but still, it's best to issue
Wait
a challenge.
for the solo run, too.
Yeah.
If
Like,
you,
yeah.
if you can solo it in under 28 minutes, I will give you a title that I bestowed of very few people. You will be that guy.
Oh, there you go. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of those guys. Because there's people that live and breathe this game. It's going to happen, trust me. Esoteric is probably going to do it in his sleep.
All right, well,
Not in game.
Not-
That's gonna,
not in game, not in game,
Yeah,
not in
this
game.
is just like a imaginary title.
Yeah,
Well,
I made that
yeah.
up just now. Sorry.
He'll say it on Twitter. Blazing
On Twitter.
Muffins will give you a shout out on Twitter. But no, so it's kind of nice to have
Blazing
the opportunity to
Muffins.
sort of,
Oh,
I guess,
I
if
don't know
if
who
you're
that
learning the
is.
activities, if you're kind of just, getting beaten down a little bit, you have a chance to build yourself up a bit, kind of get a sense of the battle arena, the mechanics in place. That way, as you kind of build yourself up that higher Warden's favor, there
Fire
are.
Team's actually showing one of my favorite features,
Please.
which we tried to give every
A
boss
thresher.
cool intro. So this boss descends in from a thresher from
Oh
the
man, we
ceiling.
all
So,
love threshers,
every
don't we, chat?
every enemy race has their own kind of mechanic. So the Hive, generally their mechanics revolve around portals in the arena.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Cabal are all about getting these explosive charges and blowing up things that are like immune. We'll see.
I like that. I think that was a big problem with Prison Builders. It was just this generic, come through the doors, kill them, do these objectives. Sorry. It seems like they're going to have their actual own identity, which is dope. And I don't know how I feel like a boss thresher. That's interesting.
See the dreads in a second, but the scorns are about like getting these explosive canisters and kind of making a makeshift explosive.
Yeah.
Internally, I
Okay.
like to call it the junkyard fantasy because like it's kind of like all junky and
Yeah.
rusted.
I
and
like
stuff.
that there's
Putting
mo-
it together,
Yeah,
just-
you
plenty
put it
of
together, and then
races
it makes this
to fight.
Really cool. Shout out Mikola for doing this. He also made
Yeah.
Liminality Strike, so shout out to him.
Oh.
He made a really cool thing where like you see the explosion trail like kind of get to the big explosive and
like
it
a fuse.
Yes, it's so cool.
That's
No, I have to ask, why did it have to be a thresher? Because I'm having
Yes,
some, memories
PTSD.
from Neo Muna. This is scaring me already.
Screw Neo
Well, you
Muna. I'm thinking of Lake of Shadows trying to do a Grandmaster and those stupid little assholes kill you from across the map.
Threshers are cool, no, and it's just, it's cool to have different boss silhouettes in Destiny. We don't often actually fight a Thresher as a boss, and the Thresher's not even the true boss, as we see a Scion and his Scion goons are the actual main
Oh,
bosses
okay.
for this fleet. So it's
Scion
like kind of
Commander.
this quasi mechanic there, where it's like,
Yeah.
you start off, you got to kill the Thresher, and then it's gone. We got like one
Yeah.
of those Russian dolls, and a bunch of Scions pop out, and you got
Yeah.
to deal with them now.
I imagine just that the unstoppable Thresher meme basically
Oh,
just
yeah.
popping up
Oh,
again,
no.
right? Yeah. So I mean, I gotta
Oh,
ask,
I remember that meme. It's funny that they even mention it because it was like people were posting Lake of Shadows. Didn't they have to nerf it because it was like way too freaking strong? It was just you couldn't even kill the Threshers in Lake of Shadows on Grandmaster. It was just so stupid.
as well, like this is an opportunity to kind of bring back this activity from Destiny 1 to kind of look at what was best about it.
We got something actually cool to show right here. Also.
Please, yeah, dive in.
Oh, you're taking
Players
damage.
Are probably very much like, why is the screen green?
Fair.
So
Fair.
critical objectives have been massively increased in like complexity, I believe.
Yeah.
So every time a boss starts, there's just a timer ticking down that we're not showing you, and then a critical objective will spawn. If you complete them or fail
Timer
them,
ticking
your
down, but
warning
we're not gonna
judgment
show
will
you
react
that. Good
accordingly.
luck.
But what we ask you to do for these critical objectives are much more
I,
dangerous. than
I,
our
I'm
normal
enjoying
objectives, like
this
maybe get
objective-based
kills
fight.
with
It's not just your simple shoot and
this
done.
One is a certain level and below, all of it will be poison gas that
Okay, I
does
like it.
damage to you over time.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
And the only way to turn it
Thunderlord.
off is you have to turn off the switches that are also in the poison gas. So the
Okay.
Warden servitor
I mean,
will be like,
it doesn't seem
"Warning,
overly
poison
complex.
gas or whatever. And when you come in, and it's
You've
like, oh,
done that
God.
before. All right.
So far, I'm digging it. I'm gonna be honest. This seems like the Prison Builders, but with a spin. The objectives, the boss fights, like the new environments. I'm sold, man. I'm sold. I don't know. I'm an easy person. I know some people are not gonna like this. They're gonna be like, and you as a consumer have a right to make your own value proposition. I've already paid for this. So I'm trying to assess whether I'm going to get my value out of it. I think I am. Maybe. Like I said, I do have concerns and I'll hold it to the end.
Yes,
That's
all
pretty
the
good.
time. I've been
Yeah.
at home just like by myself, just doing a Varix impression, like to like nothing, and I'm like,
That's how I'm going to talk to my cat exclusively now. I can just tell.
I think he'll get a little scared though.
It's okay. He has to exist around me anyway. He's well prepared.
I just think of insect like chattering.
Okay, is that
Yeah.
3
That's
chests? That's
all I got in
pretty
my brain.
generous.
Chattering. I don't know. It's
And we see the
insect
warden's office. So that's what I call. That's not what it's called,
Please,
but
the
that's what I like
principal's
to call it. Yeah.
office. Yeah.
Every time you complete a boss, you will get pulled to this chamber where the warden will reward you based on how well you've done. This
Yeah.
fire team has done very well. So they get 3 chests, and you get a.
He's not
rally
picking up.
point
Oh, I was about to say he's not
that
picking up the
allows you to
loot.
kind of refresh your super and ammo and stuff
Yeah.
before the next round.
Yeah.
And as we saw, we have like judgment, calculating, punishment, protocol, averted. If you're in the Warden's punishment while he's judging you in this like kind of Monopoly style like mini game, a punishment will happen. I don't want to spoil what that is, but I think it'll be very smart. But as we see,
Scrapper. Combatant melees are significantly more powerful. So they do more damage to you. Oh, that sucks.
they were able to skip the cryopod encounter. If you were like at a neutral or below, you would have to do that cryopod encounter again. But our fire team is good enough to skip it. So if you keep that momentum, you're able to skip that encounter every single time. and
Okay,
kind of
that
go
sounds
through the prison much
really
faster than
good.
you would normally.
Yeah. All right, really quickly. Also, please feel free to keep jumping back in. I know there's a lot of stuff we're going to be checking out. But Taylor, I want to quickly bug you. With the arrival of Act 2, we're going to have a few new weapons. Being
Okay,
added
this
to
is the
overall,
loot. This is what I want to talk
loot pool.
about.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the new season, or pardon me, Act weapons, rather, that we're going to be having available to us?
Yeah, sure. So we have like 2 new seasonal weapons. Or
Wow.
weapons.
Got the SMG.
2.
shotgun, right? Yeah.
There's an Arc Precision
Wow.
SMG, and then there's a
Attrition orbs, right?
attrition orb. Yeah, it's got a bunch of perk rolls on it.
I'm
which
actually
we'll get to in a
excited for
second.
the
And then,
SMG. It looks
a
pretty
Void Precision
cool.
Shotgun, which has some.
Shotgun, not
Ghost
so
Rock
much.
Blue Jeans
Made for
if,
PvP, but outside of that, we have so many shotguns.
Yeah. If you
Can I just say right now that I am just, we have had so many shotguns recently that I don't think I care. They out of like all the shotguns we keep getting, none of them, like, I still don't use shotguns. I mean, I've used them in dungeons, like I've used slug shotguns, and that's about it. Or if you're using the 1-2 punch setup, obviously, like sword breaker, disgusting for that. But outside of that, like, shotguns just aren't the thing. They're just not. I just don't get excited for a new shotgun.
we'll probably see the model in a few minutes, but
Yeah.
the resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool rolls for both of these, both for PvE and
Yeah,
PvP.
let's take a quick look.
So this one's got the new art.
Yeah, I mean, that looks pretty good.
It's also got loose change, attrition orb.
Jolting feedback.
That really
I don't know.
synergize pretty well. You can get like the jolt on and then loose change procs.
Yeah.
and it
You can get just
loops
Joel
into
shot,
itself.
maybe. I don't know.
And then the shotgun.
Scavenger's
got,
Feint. Okay,
bunch
so
of
Dust
rolls
Rock
both for
Blues.
PvE and PvP. You can get slide shot closing time.
I can see if it has good perks. I can see this thing being nasty for PvP. Precision frames are the pro dominant PvP shotgun. I mean, get your generic slide shot, opening shot, or threat detector, and there you go. You've got copy pasta, the 50,000th shotgun that we've ever had, and or closing time or whatever is the new perk. Like, I'm just not excited for shotguns. So we just have so many shotguns.
You can get Discord stabilizing rounds, and with the shotgun changes that we did in this release, it will probably serve you pretty well. In
Yeah.
places.
Having dusted off my.
They're talking about the shotgun changes. All they did was increase the range, the fall off range. I think they might have slightly tweaked the damage. I don't know. I don't remember. But it wasn't like so much that's shifting the meta.
7 Seraph CQC, I want to say thank you
Ooh, it's
for those
classic.
changes, honestly. Yeah, never gets old.
It's nice how such a small change can actually make a pretty big difference.
Yeah,
especially when
almost,
it's
seriously.
not even more damage.
Yeah. Also, with regard to the new shotgun,
Yeah, that's the thing.
PvP or PvE rather is going to get some nice buffs. You were saying the repulsor brace, both hell rounds.
Yep.
Accept those. But at any rate, there was a PvP role you were talking about earlier as well. Like, it's going to have a lot of versatility in the same.
Oh yeah,
box.
it's got a lot of rolls, and it's precision frames, so I know it's like the most popular right now for PvP.
Yeah.
Get
You gonna
built
do
out of
something
the
about
block
that?
these days. So in addition to these 2 new act weapons getting added to the pool, there's also one of the reprised ones as well that I'm personally pretty excited about.
It's funny that the weapons guy admits, yes, we realize that it is the most popular type. Can you do something about that? Can we have some variety? It feels like we're just doing this circle jerk of one shotgun is the only shotgun you need. Can we maybe make them all viable to a certain extent? Just a food for thought.
From Season of the Splicer coming back, Grid Skipper.
Brood Skipper.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a very personal connection to this gun, so it was like one of my favorite things. I actually worked on helped work on the.
I don't know if there's any good rolls on the Grid Skipper.
Yeah, I did the rolls on these.
Head Seeker. Okay,
some
maybe there is.
Classics from the past, but also some new rolls. Also, it's got a lot of options for both PvE, PvP. Get some Zen Moment, Head Seeker for PvP, probably.
Man, what is okay? Just something that they're not addressing is like every gun that they talk about outside of like the jolting. That the jolting feedback is obviously new, and I'm fresh, funky fresh. But like they're advertising Grid Skipper, which and then 2 generic perks they talk about. Hey guys, Zen Moment Head Seeker, which is 99% of what everyone's running on every pulse rifle. Every pulse rifle, it is except for bygones, is Zen Moment Head Seeker or something along those lines. Like, can we spice things up and maybe not just package everything as the same meta perks? Like, can we make something else good or useful or interesting? Like, you're just crapping out the generic sauce.
Pretty nice.
That's what I'm going to be going for.
My original classic roll was Killing Wind multi-kill clip, which with the new Splice Origin will work pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm a compulsive reloader myself, so manning the pulse and getting that Splicer Surge going after a couple kills, it pretty much like negates the major downside of rapid fire pulses of being like pretty low handling and reload baseline.
That was the role you talked about in the TWID, right?
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Of all the people, you chose the legendary weapon instead.
Yeah. So
for
with the
context,
past, talking about if you could have one weapon made a replica, what would you want? A bunch of other people said exotic, and I was the guy that said Grid Skipper.
I mean, it's a great answer.
Correct choice.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah. There's no wrong choice in theirs, but yours was very correct. Let's be very clear.
Yours was very correct
as well. But, there's a lot to look forward to. I'm going to be grinding this a lot.
Yeah.
I want to interject real quick because we're at a good time.
Yeah.
So this is.
I'm going to interject. I'm just going to say this right now because I think we're moving past the weapons. I think this contest of elders is going to be really good. My general concern is we're only getting 3 weapons, and one of them is just a reprised weapon. When we had Prison of Elders, it had its own set of weapons, and that's not happening here. I just don't see this lasting. Now, if you're going to tell me it's easier to farm weapons besides Onslaught, which Salvation Onslaught is not rewarding at all, which is part of the problem. A lot of people think, oh, see, you want crafting. No, I just want it to be as rewarding as the original Onslaught. Salvation just is not rewarding, even if you do the harder difficulty. And Contest of Elders is just shaping up to be the same thing if it's only like 3 new guns. Like, I don't know. It seems like we're getting 3 chests, which is pretty hefty. I don't know. We have to wait and see, but my fear is the loot's not going to be there. Most people don't care about the base weapons we already have. So introducing 3 new weapons 2 new weapons and 1 refresh is not really going to make people like, oh man, I really want to do this. I'm concerned the replay value is not there. Like, why do it if you don't get something that you want out of it? And that is every looter shooter game. Like, people are like, well, why bother play? Because you want to loot, you want to shoot, you want to have fun. But a lot of people don't go back to like old content if they've already played it and consumed it, right? Obviously, it's a player issue, but you can look at any other game where it's a looter shooter. Once people have what they want, if there's nothing there, they don't play. Contest of Elders is not going to be any different. Just 3 weapons. I don't know, man.
The fire team went through it earlier, but this is a traversal section. So these are different than how they were in the coil. I also want to shout out every player who died to my spike traps in the coil. I did that on purpose.
How dare
I don't
you.
feel bad.
There's a lot of grudges being built in chat right now in real time. It's,
Yeah,
I thought it was
I feel
fine.
like an evil DM, honestly. It's so.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not
Feel
fun to
your
them, but
ears
it's fun to
burning
me.
at like 2 a.m. and it's me screaming at my ceiling. Noah, why did you do that?
Exactly. I
just-
see all the comments and I'm like.
He just smiles. Yeah, he just feels better. Warms up.
Just
his
wave
coffee.
and smile.
These are these are much shorter than they were in the coil, but
Thank
their
God, they were
goal
way
is,
too long.
In Contest of Elders specifically, not Tomb of Elders, which is like 1 lap.
Yeah.
These have their own.
Oh, so they took okay. So they're doing the same thing where they take the main thing and split it. So they have Tomb of Elders and then Contest of Elders. So you're just gonna get one rotation, whereas Contest is literally a gauntlet. Got you.
Challenges that players have to complete. So for this one, it was complete kill every enemy, defeat every enemy that's there. There are some that's like collect a bunch of like fallen lights. I can't remember what they're called. They're like energy
Okay.
signals.
We
Or,
got the Taken. That's
defeat
kind
a
of
boss
juice.
within a certain amount of time. So it's just
Yeah.
more things to kind of challenge you and make these, transitionary spaces a little bit more interesting. And so we have like the piece de resistance right here. My son.
Your
everyone
son?
will be very excited to see this. This is one of my favorite intros.
The grand reveal. Yeah, let's see
Exactly.
here. And you were saying the Dread was taken
Psylocke.
over
Okay,
in
that's
this
that.
one.
I'd
I
say
knew
that
about
the Taken
Psylocke,
are
but it's
kind
good to
of
see him back.
taking the helm
From
of the
Destiny
Dread
1.
right now, not because like they're stronger or anything, but because like Psylocke is just more experienced with the prison. I feel
Yeah,
like.
honestly.
I mean, he's been
he was
around
a
since
model
D1.
Inmate.
Yeah.
So they were like we're asking from the best. All the
So
they
Psylocke's
wanted, like,
back.
the-
Where's my
Yeah,
lock?
honestly, yeah. He was
We need
always,
my
he was
lock
always
back,
available
chat.
for work after hours. He was hanging out in the library, reading
Exactly.
up on the law, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing.
Hey,
his-
Yeah.
Yeah.
resonance
service.
disruption. So you have to pick up and dunk.
So
Okay.
what's the mechanic
Cool.
we're seeing at play here as well, by the
So
way?
this
Seems pretty
mechanic
simple.
is a bad pun. So for everyone who loves Rift or really has even played Excision, instead of Spark Runner buff, it is Dark Runner, where you're picking up
Dark Runner, nice.
splinters. You're picking up darkness splinters that give you stacks of Dark Runner up to like times
I don't
3,
see
it'll say,
that
like,
where it
Dark
says
Runner
Dark
max,
Runner,
and
but
you dunk
I'm
them in a
assuming
Rift,
that
and,
it's there.
It changes based on like the encounter. For the normal Dread encounter,
Error,
there's something
tomb
different, but in this,
starts.
Psylocke will have a
He got an error code.
Different objective. It's happening right now too.
Oh yeah, we got.
Wait,
the
what?
Rifleman is a critical objective.
What's the
and thing with
Rifleman
that
doing
is
here?
there'll be clones of the Rifleman that spawn around the arena.
Yeah.
You have to find the real one, but the clone's
Okay.
damage is real too. So
Yeah.
you got to make sure that you're not in their line of sight.
Yeah.
Time
All these
until
critical
Warden's
objectives are
penalty.
Meant to be pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not supposed to go easy on you.
Yeah, I mean they're
It's not called-
critical.
It's not the sandbox of Elders, it's the tomb.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
loving how
Yeah.
dynamic all this is too, because even like through our practice runs and all that, we've seen a bunch of different modifiers and different objectives
Yeah.
pop up.
This is the. I mean,
The Rifleman.
If I was to describe what design's goal was for this in one word,
Yeah.
it would be variable. There's so much that can change from a given
That's
run.
good.
Really trying to embody roguelite to like its fullest. You'll have different pathways every
Yeah.
time, which is like you'll go to different cell blocks in different orders.
Yeah.
You'll have different.
I'm always cautious when Bungie says stuff like this, like it's going to be random, it's going to be different, and then we've known in the past that it's not random, it hasn't been different. So I'm going to be skeptical until I get my hands on it. Like, guys, it's completely random, and then you do it, and it's like 5 different ways you can do it, just 5. Okay. We will see. I'm not going to say that they're overhyping it. We will see.
Objectives that'll pop up, different critical objectives, and you'll have different
I
modifiers.
mean, I do like
all
the
this stuff,
different
and
stages.
Based on how
It's
well
really
you do
nice.
the dynamic, like enemies are harder or easier based on how well you do. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and I hope players can I'm looking at Dado and Astacross, make a good guide for this.
Yeah.
Because this is a big one. But
Yeah.
I think that
Of course, they have to get the shout out to their favorites. Yeah, that's the third person they've mentioned. I didn't know who the first person was, but now we're mentioning 3 other streamers. Shout out to them, I guess.
the more people play, they'll kind of understand the mode
Yeah.
a lot more, and there's a lot to offer, I think. And we're not going to show the treasure chamber, unfortunately, but that's kind of the whole thesis. We want everyone to get to that treasure chamber and feel like however they played, they can get paid out based on how well they did.
Definitely.
That's good.
And my goal was, even if you're at the worst level, if you're at Warden's punishment ×3. You're able to get to the max rewards in 1 lap.
Yeah.
Okay.
This might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah,
might
you
be
just
a
have
little
to
bit more
be kind of
stress.
dialed in.
So, what I've seen and heard, if you do really well, you get to skip content, you go faster. And then you get the bonus loot instead of having to collect bull crap, pots, and all the other egregious crap. But if you do bad, you're ass. You are just ass at the game, or maybe you don't got armor or weapons. Like sorry, you're not good. Or you're struggling. Maybe you got screwed over and you got stuck with a team. That's bad. Whatever the excuse and reason we all come up with, you're at the bottom of the barrel. You can still get the loot. You just have to go the longer way around to get to the treasure. I'm okay with that. I think that's great. Because the people that would be upset, like, oh, they're just getting handouts. Technically, they're not, because it's taking longer for them, but they can still get there. The people who would be upset that they're not getting all the loot, if you want the loot, you can actually just take your time and get there. I think that's fine. I also like that it encourages speed running, because you can speed run this activity. That's great too. I think these are all W's. 28 minutes, if that's like with a team, 28 minutes sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah.
It'll be the phrasing of like, oh, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. You got to earn these rewards.
You got to say it in a Eric's voice, though, too.
Oh, I'm not.
The
We'll get
Warden
back
has
to
so many lines. I want to shout out Olivia on narrative for writing all the lines.
Yeah.
He has, I think, like, I don't even know. I'm not going to, like, make a number up right now. But he has a bunch, and they range from being, I'm very proud of you, to, like, come on, man, you got to do a little better than that.
Yeah,
it kind of
honestly.
pushes you to kind of just want to make him proud.
Yeah, he's not mad. He's just disappointed.
He's
right?
disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan is the father here. He's used to saying that to me.
I don't use the slang like you do.
That's it. I mean, I got that Skibbity Ohio.
Looks like we're going to talk about the artifact.
What was that?
Moving right along. Actually, while we have a second here, Taylor, I wanted to go ahead back to you.
Yeah.
Actually, we've got some new artifact mods joining.
Man,
this time around
joy.
as well. Do you mind if we take a look and kind of walk through and see what we got here?
Yeah. So we've got like the last.
Authorized mods. The armory costs for all armor mods affecting your melee are significantly discounted. Sure.
Episode. Sorry. We have a new.
Can I just point out we didn't get any new, like, one thing I did like about the Season of Echoes was the artifact mods. And I didn't like them, but I liked the fact that at least it gave you more options for anti-champion, which is the biggest problem with the whole artifact system, in my opinion. I think the artifact system is ass because it locks you into specific things that you need. I don't like it. But I'm absolutely hating the fact that they did not introduce any other champion mods. Episode Echoes literally had two different, like, we had sniper, anti-barrier, and then what was it for auto rifles? Wasn't auto rifles something too? Like overload or something? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm coping. But I would have preferred having one anti-barrier on each slot. Like, this does not belong. One of these things just doesn't belong. Let's see. Champion mods? An authorization mod. At least make it to where my melee does something. That'd be cool. Imagine that, chat. You use this, and then your melee becomes an anti-champion mod. You punch an overload or something, use your melee, and it stuns an unstoppable. That sounds badass. But no, we just got this generic ass artifact mod. Like, the artifact mods are so boring.
Row unlocking in Act 2. These are all close quarters themed, so we've got a discount for all your melee mods.
Wow.
An improvement to emergency reinforcements, which I think is like you get a heal
Wow.
and health. Got a way to get armor charge while you're
The thick of it. Rapid fire blows while surrounded grant you armor. With a tonic, while you're surrounded, your weapons have increased handling. Swords gain increased charge rate. Wow. That is so generically boring. I'm skipping because I don't care what they have to say. Curative orbs. The first time you break a target shield or break the shield of a guardian using their super, you create an orb of power. Boost. Picking up an orb of power, an elemental pickup or tangle grants you a small amount of health. Wow. These are so uninteresting. What's the big boy? Arc compounding. Arc sources deal increased damage to blind targets. Talk about the most boring ass mods. Wow. This is like how much damage, by the way, it says increased damage, but how much is it increased? If you're saying 15% or something, that is like such a generic thing. Like these are supposed to be crazy. Like the whole purpose of the artifact is that they can do crazy overpowered things because it's only for a season and you can only have like a certain amount of them equipped at the time. But if you're going to tell me that this does like barely crap all damage, like get out of here. This is lazy. This whole row is ass. Like there's nothing, maybe a few things, but outside of that, like I would rather use the rest of them. This is just ass.
Just getting there.
And then our compounding, which I believe there will be the same way that you would on the kill trigger. So let's scale into some higher difficulty content a bit easier, and it does some work if you have like things we're doing in this Act 2 patch is we're buffing all the roaming supers. So for context, that's like your Storm Trance, Vista Havoc, where you're in the super for a while, versus the one-shot supers like Nova Bomb, Test.
So how, like, I don't remember if we've went over these. I know they've mentioned a lot of stuff in the past, but like they need to significantly buff roaming supers. Like I'm talking about, we need massive, massive damage because you give up so much to be in a super, and it's not guaranteed that it will work or be effective or even like be worth giving up gunplay or a one-shot super. Like I don't see in a world where if they barely touch supers and they don't make it do significant damage, that anyone will ever touch it.
Etc. We're making a change so that the damage-based rechargers, specifically in PvE.
Right. Yes. Only in PvE, not PvE.
Yeah. You'll be charged like through active combat. You'll be charging the roaming supers, but like 2 to 3 times faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a pretty big swing with the kind of the idea that you want to move these a little bit closer to your neutral game.
Yeah.
Or something you feel more comfortable popping like on cooldown.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you need to keep it for when you're going to need it. You can use it pretty actively because you can get it.
So use it for ad clear and champions. That would be an interesting concept. Again, I still think it needs to do significant damage because a lot of the time, even in your super, you can still get melted. Like unless we're talking about Radiance. Like obviously, you're just gonna go around claim a Radiance and not give a crap about anything. But like if you're going around punching stuff was your Titan, you know, you're smashing your electric boy, crap hits back and it hurts. So it needs to be able to just one shot a lot of things.
Get back ready.
Yeah.
Like relatively quickly.
Yeah, you used the, I think the great analogy earlier of like, it's not the hyper potion in your backpack you hold on to forever because
you want to try and break that habit. We understand it's a hard habit to kick.
As someone again who uses the super basically only in the final phase of any boss fight.
Yep. Years and years of Destiny have trained me very well to do that too. So it was interesting seeing in playtest because it took people a bit to kind of adapt to it. But
I want numbers though. What I would wish that they're not going to tell us, but I wish they would say like going through a strike, how often they burn their super and get it back. I want to know if I'm running a Grandmaster or a raid, how often if I just pop a super, how fast can I get it back?
How quickly they're coming back. It was like a lot of fun because it opens up a lot more things too. Because like now there's a bunch of exotics that are tied to roaming supers that are just instantly more valuable without needing to change a whole lot of stuff.
Totally.
So it shakes things up.
We'll see.
Some options.
Yeah.
Again, Bungie is really good at making things sound good. And then when you actually play with it, it's literally just a wet noodle. I've learned to be skeptical about some of these live streams. They say one thing, and you try it, and you're like, well, that's ass. So I personally want roaming supers to be better. That's good. That's a net positive. Let me just say that my skepticism isn't rooted in, I just want them to be bad. I do want roaming supers to be good because they have been awful for a very, very, very long time, and they've only been useful in PvP. So I just want to make that very clear for anyone watching. I'm not complaining. I'm being skeptical because of Bungie's history. History matters. Saying one thing, pretty words mean nothing. It would have been nice to see it, or them to give us a specific number of like how often they were able to pop it. But it's obvious we're not going to get that.
It sounds enticing for like Onslaught, Coil, Tomb of
Yeah,
Elders.
like
now you
the
have more
stuff
ad
where
clear
you
stuff.
like
Contest of Elders.
Sorry,
the
content.
objective is speed
Yeah.
versus just like burst damage or something.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and just upping that
some
versatility
interesting
factor.
options.
Which is the problem. It's focus on speed, which you don't need a lot of speed. Like in Grandmasters, it's not about speed unless you're speed farming. It's about how much damage you can do effectively before anything.
Honestly, of all
yeah,
those, you know?
yeah, just bringing some other stuff kind of back in the limelight.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. The build crafters out there in the audience, you've got your work cut out for you now. Go ahead and start adjusting those variables in your various spreadsheets. and
Yeah,
everything.
I'm gonna hold my breath on that,
Yeah.
Chief.
The spreadsheets. When I eat lunch, I sometimes just
Yeah.
put on a video and I'm like, let me see what the meta is.
Yeah, yeah.
care about.
Dear Mactix, tell me what my build is today.
Matt, it is almost shoehorned. All these different streamers' names are being shoehorned. Dado, that one weird name at the beginning, Astacross, Maddox. I'm seeing a trend outside of the one person who I don't know. I'm seeing a trend. They're talking about the people that don't criticize them or don't openly say too much negative things about them. By the way, it is so shoehorned in there. The person that they should have shouted out wasn't Maddox. We should have been Bog on my dog. Like that dude, I've seen so many of his spreadsheets and the data he does, or Mossy Max. Shout out to Mossy Max. It feels like there's an agenda with all these streamers that keep pointing out, like, okay, there's better people to point out, but we're going to point out these very specific streamers. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Then you have
thank
Bjorndal internally, where it's like, what's my meta going to be in a month? What should I start saving now?
The same thing. I'm not. Anyone can check and say yes. The meta is usually the same for an entire episode. The supers might move the needle a little bit, but like the meta is going to be essentially the same. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I will admit, I had also, when I got a sneak peek at Alethanim, I went home that day and built like a stasis loadout just in preparation for it, more or less. The stand-in was I can't remember the name of it. And he,
Must skip
I
ahead.
appreciate it. There's only one scout rifle in my brain, and it's just the dead man's tail. Get your memes going. We
sorry,
have got
Dado.
some cool stuff arriving in the form of, let's go ahead and start from the top. We're doing a partnership with Street Fighter.
Oh,
coming up. Can you tell us a little
God.
bit about the cool stuff that we're going to have available through that partnership?
Maybe.
All right, well, what if I ask you?
Oh,
Please,
God.
may you tell us?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I mean,
there we go. All
so
right.
you've seen a few things through gameplay. We have a bunch of cosmetics. Like the first thing you can see here is a wonderful set of ghosts. So we got your Cammy.
There it
Ryu,
is.
Your Chun-Li.
I'm just going to point out that I've made a couple videos where I've just stated outright with how much Bungie is desperate for money. You should expect more of this. I am not surprised. You should absolutely expect more content in the store. Now, if they make it for Bright Dust, that is going to be a very interesting change of pace because they refuse to do crossovers as dust pay for dust stuff. But I am going to just say straight up, get used to this happening more and more. I hate also this Fortnite-ification is the terminology of video games. It's happening more and more. Call of Duty's obviously started doing it. Like, I hate it. It's just everything has to be a copy pasta of Fortnite. So stupid.
I wouldn't want my ghost to get into a fist fight with with any of the bosses really, but that one looks like they could take.
The Ryu
one,
one's
right?
pretty swole, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna punch every face of the witness.
There's a lot, so you better get to work.
Yeah. And then one of our players has actually been running around with a Blanca helmet, which is, so it's not one class that gets this. It's going to be universal ornament. The helmet goes on all characters, Hunter, Titan, Warlock, which is going to be great.
Okay.
And then with the roaming super changes, like, yeah, you can throw on your Titan Arc Super, you can throw on Storm Trance, and go and kind of role play with some of that electricity, right?
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, just really live up that fantasy of being Blanca after all this time. Maybe not as swole as him necessarily.
I'm not a Street Fighter fan, so not that I don't like it, I just don't play a lot of, like, I don't even play Mortal Kombat, honestly. So I like the movies. I'm gonna be honest. If this is your thing, then I'm glad you're eating good. So is
but
Bungie
still
with your
a step in the
money.
Right direction.
Speak for yourself, Andy.
Okay, stop. All right.
Yeah,
we all know, Noah, that you're just way cooler than all of us. Okay, stop rubbing it in.
As long as we know.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, great.
So,
Yeah, great.
Yeah, great. So there are also 3 finishers. You might have seen those sprinkled in through the gameplay. Lightning kick, spinning bird, Hadouken.
What
Ah,
are you
Hadouken.
over here, Dylan? Thank you.
Was
All
my
right, there it
my
is.
attempt worse than the joke, or?
Significantly
We'll leave
better.
the comments.
Yeah.
Significantly better. Yeah.
And then we got some emotes that we can show off too, which are a pretty good time.
Yeah. Let's see here.
All right, we're kicking.
If gameplay's on screen, anyway.
There we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Yes. All right. So we've got
Okay.
some emotes to show off as well. Let's start with the group emote here.
This one's
I love the
Time to
headband.
fight.
Oh,
The health
That's
bars
cool.
are so good.
And winner. God. And then we got a
that's cool, I guess.
bonus round.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah. It's not exactly a Honda Civic, but it's just as much fun to go ahead and beat
I
up.
want to do a shout out to every Guardian in the tower. 1997 Honda Civic Adept. I see you. I love you.
It's an important role.
Now everyone, their brother is going to be named after a car, and it's going to be Adept. My favorite ones are always the Marosov's Badussi Adept. That's always the fun ones to see.
To play, honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. This is going to be my new Trials intro. I can already tell.
Right.
Honestly.
And then we actually have a segue on screen already with the armor that has been adorned.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and rotate over there with the arrival as well of this act. The Dawning
Okay.
is going to be making its return as well on December 10th, I believe.
Holy crap, chat! The Dawning. We're actually getting the date of the Dawning, and unlike the Festival of the Lost, where we didn't know when it was going to happen, it's not going to happen in like January, which I expected it to go to because Festival of the Lost is still going on in November.
Let me check my notes. Yes, December 10th. Yeah, 10 a.m.
Okay, so yeah, okay, cool.
right at reset. We'll have the Dawning coming back.
Wow.
The wonderful theme for our armor is going to be a celestial space dragon, which is
That's fine. I don't understand how that matches Christmas or a festive holiday. I don't know, but honestly, it looks cool. I don't know if I will buy it. Even as a Warlock main, I have to see. Maybe Hunter or Titan looks badass enough, I'll buy it. Like Titan's been neglected a couple of times. Maybe the Titan can get some love. It's whatever. I'm going to skip ahead simply because I just want to see what else they have to do.
It's cookie baking activities coming back,
Right.
going around to all. Of
Oh,
your different
wow.
vendors,
Cookies.
giving them
That's
nice
so
treats, giving some raises
fun.
to Eris, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
Right.
There have been a
cookies.
couple quality of life changes that I want to call out from the team.
Oh, okay.
Here. Let's see. Dark Frosting. So it's not just going to be Stasis anymore. Both of your Darkness subclasses, Strand and Stasis, are going to make
Okay.
it easier. And then for every
Nice.
Guardian out there that's been saying, hey, this specific ingredient is not dropping for me, we're upping the drop. Rate
Oh,
right
wow.
now. So if you're using
Holy
Void, trying
crap.
to get that null taste or whatever.
And we are.
Considering making cookies is the only thing that goes on in this activity, because it literally literally the yawning. That's not even the Dawning, it's the yawning. You don't do anything besides make cookies, and someone's like, "Oh my god, it's such a great activity!" Shout out to those people who've never played a good holiday event.
Start getting that a little bit more.
Hell,
frequent.
even RuneScape has more interactive
Stop it.
events.
Well, yeah, you're the lucky one. Here.
Yeah.
Built different.
Dev loot.
Classic Taylor. Geez, yeah, the Death Loot. Yeah.
Dawning Engrams are coming back. We have Focusing. You can actually earn double perks
Cool.
as well. So if you're trying to get the new
Wow.
linear fusion rifle with some spicy rolls, it's going to be nice to earn a pathway to a couple in the columns. But if we
Okay.
can get a preview.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah. So Adaptive Burst, beautiful fusion rifle.
This does nothing for me. Linear fusion rifles are ass. They do the least amount of damage. 2, we have literally the Season of the Wish one, which has surrounded as well, I believe. Let's be honest. It's just like bait and switch is their go-to. Now, this one does have Withering Gaze, which is still pretty mid. Like, I just don't see people using it. But it is something, at least, if they decide to buff it in the future. Like, it does 15%. I think it should do 20% debuff. that might be a little broken. But for new players, this is going to be something that they can latch on to. It's an easy way to get something. But linear fusion rifles just aren't it. They're just not. They're not. I would rather run a GL. GLs, rockets, those are the go-tos. Linear fusion rifles have, after they nerfed them, even then when they were nerfed, the only reason they nerfed them because they were being overused. The only reason they're being overused is because it was a comfort weapon that was ease of use. And it wasn't even the most damaging weapon. GLs are still the most, but people were still coping on the fact that linear fusion rifles were easier to use. But if you talk to anyone who knows damage rotations, who understand the actual numbers, and you look at the spreadsheets, linear fusion rifles are dragging. They're like the bottom barrel. Like they're bad. They are bad. There's a reason why I just don't use them anymore. In fact, even in Grandmasters, I just throw on a grenade launcher because I'm going to immediately do more damage than someone who has a linear fusion rifle. So again, I'm not excited. This isn't something I'm going to be like, oh my God, looks great. It's a nothing burger to me. Glacial Cataclysm's coming back. I don't know. High impact frame fusions are just not good. I'm not excited. I don't know if there's anything else that's worth talking about. Let's see.
You may see it in the Crucible, may shake your fist at it a couple times, but there are going to be some more rolls.
After seeing you in that Bungie Foundation stream, just mopping the floor with people with fusion side, Act 2 as well.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Points, so we're trying to spread the love a bit.
Nice.
So
we'll get what we deserve.
I keep
Pretty
setting
good.
you up
Yeah.
for these, and then I just regret.
No, thank you. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do you a solid to set you up for one. We have one more cool little thing actually. There's a new fashion set that's being added to Act 2 as well. The players have been pretty excited about it. They may have caught wind of it, but can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here, Dylan?
So by the power of the moon, the team has done absolute beautiful work on some Doki Doki Destiny sets.
Dude! Why do we have to make everything fucking Fortnite, dude? How many of those crossover sets, like how many crossover sets are we getting in one episode? Holy crap. Wow. I know I even just said it, didn't I? I just said it that we should expect it to happen more because Bungie needs money. They're desperate. They need as much money as possible to pay the bills. I just did not expect that they are going to literally drop to their knees and fondle the balls of whatever company will let them cross over. Doki Doki in my destiny. Well, I guess we're just all going to get Doki Doki'd in Arcabussy is what's going to happen.
We got your Warlock and your Titan there, showing off their fashion, pondering an orb, if you will. But yeah, I mean, this has been a set long time coming. We hope
it should have never came.
Some bows, some ribbons, and just
wow,
a fun time in fashion. If you want to go super black and be gothic cutesy set, that's going to be.
It's a great time for that, honestly.
Yeah, right.
This is available through Silver.
This is going to be Silver and Bright Dust.
Of course. If you're so the set that I don't know how many people actually give a shit about. I'm sure there's the weirdos that are like ruling out their nutsack. But like the other sets, like man, of all the crossover stuff that we get, and I'm pretty sure Doki Doki is just it's not even like like, let me Google. Like, I'm almost certain Doki Doki is not even like a
Pathfinders, all that.
I don't even think it's like a specific thing. Doki. It's just a thing. Doki Doki. I think it's just a theme, right? Oh no, it's actually just. Okay, I don't know. Either way, that's what we're getting in Destiny now. Isn't that great?
That kind of stuff. Yeah. It'll be available in Eververse for.
Which is funny. Can we just point out? This is supposed to be vampires, like kind of theme, like the Dark Slayers. And instead of getting something like, what would have been a really cool crossover? Devil May Cry, fighting demons and stuff like that, or like some other gothic style crossover. But instead, we got Street Fighter and Doki Doki. Like, we're not even trying.
Gonna be a good time.
Live your best fashion life.
Right. Fashion is the true end game.
Destiny is going to be really dialing
Let's
it up.
see. Any other notes? Oh, I do want to give a shout out.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I mean, like at the top of the show, I was saying I'm an emissary of the team, but ultimately there are a ton of people that make cool content. Like we have Noah Taylor here right now, but big thank you to Mike Profeta.
I don't care.
To come.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's nice. Let's make those thankless jobs ones that get a lot of thanks. Honestly, they deserve it.
I have a shout out also. I want to
Please.
shout out
Same.
Keenan for all
Don't care.
The Scorn weapons and that Origin perk.
Yeah.
Matt Dowling for all his work on the release.
Don't care.
Even now, working hard, continuing to build all the next chapters of Destiny. Thank you all so much. We appreciate it.
Do I have any other notes?
Do you have any other notes?
I think. Oh yeah, last thing.
Okay.
We've had a lot of players asking about Iron Banner.
Oh, right. thank you.
Oh, yeah.
November 26th. So the week
Okay, put it
after
on your
the-
calendars, November 26th.
The act launches. We'll have Iron Banner coming back with a new armor set and a couple new weapons
Neat.
for when we go dark. But we'll have a bunch of stuff on Iron Banner. Dawning, all the goodies in there. We have a bake-off event that's going to be going on in the
Wow.
game where you can earn.
We're going to leave you with just one more thing as well. Now,
Okay, this is the last
as a
thing.
quick
What is
heads
it?
Up, the launch of Act 3, pardon me, is going to be on January 7th. So given
Okay.
that that's right after 2025 rolls around, many of us will be at home spending time with our families and loved ones, or if you're like me, sitting around just playing more Destiny.
Woo!
But so as a result, we won't be actually having an Act 3 stream. So unmark those calendars for the stream, but make sure you log in that day because with the arrival of Act 3, shortly after the arrival or right when it launches, we'll defer that to Twit to make sure we get that date spot on. There's going to be a new exotic weapon quest arriving as well. And
Which is funny because I hope that they learned their lesson from episode echoes or season echoes and they don't attach the stupid ass mission to the actual like exotic mission. It screwed over so many people. People were locked out who had not been playing echoes, came back and they found out they could not even play the exotic mission because it was attached to the same shitty ass missions. Like they have to do Act 1, Act 2 before they have access to the exotic mission. When it used to be, as soon as the exotic mission was open, you could just go and do it, which is how it should always be. So I hope they learned their lesson, but I guarantee at week 1, 2, and 3 of Act 3 is just going to be more exotic mission because it's lazy and it's just, that's why they don't have to worry about it. They're like, once we release it, it's going to be like that for the next 3 weeks. We don't have to do anything, even though it's probably going to be buggy as fuck.
and with it, a new exotic shotgun as well that we're going to actually take a look at here today. Now, the name
Yeah,
of
I
the
knew
quest
about this
we're not gonna spoil
shotgun.
for you because it has some story implications. But Taylor, I'd love to put you on the spot real quick. Can you tell us a
Why is it that it's a bad problem with streamers as well? Why is it anyone showcasing weapons? Why is it always public event or public zones? Like you're showing, like at least go to like a legend lost sector at the bare minimum, or do the legend campaign. Like do something that is a higher level than your basic ass dregs. Like you're showing blueberry footage.
little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yes, this is Slayer's Fang. It's a,
Okay.
it's a pretty unique slug shotgun.
It reminds me of Hard Light.
Right,
That
it
Hard Light the
fires
shotgun.
A single slug round that once it impacts a target or a surface like environment, the slug shatters in a bunch of secondary projectiles. And then once you get a kill, you get True Sight for a short period.
I'm sure people in PvP will love that one. Oh, baby. Ha. People are going to love that in the Crucible.
Time. And then the shattered projectiles will weaken targets that they hit, and they get a bit smarter with their tracking.
Very nice.
It's also got a pretty unique reload
Yeah.
for a
You putting
shotgun.
a crystal in there?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
It's like a small void crystal. Like I think the theme is like the projectile.
I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about shotguns. Outside, Conditional Finality was one of the best shotguns we've gotten. Just its versatility, its damage, the fact that it's great in PvP, that it's great in PvE, it deals with champions. I just avoid exotic shotgun. I just don't know if it's going to move the needle for me. Maybe it has some really crazy perks that you can put on it, but like, oh, I can see through walls and it ricochets. Wow. They also said it weakens. I mean, that's cool, I guess. But is that worth the exotic slot? Like, Why use this when we have side rockets? Why use this when we have Choir of One, which, yes, is not as good as people thought it was because it's been nerfed, but I still would use that over a shotgun. I don't know, man. It looks like it's going to deal with overloads because I see it in the bottom left. You guys can't see it, but it looks like it deals with overloads. So that's a +1 for me, is that you can use this shotgun to deal with overloads. That's dope. I don't know.
Tiles are like hitting service and they shatter into bits.
We went down as a squad of 9. We're turned into void crystals and
Loads the gun with the reload.
I was going to ask.
It's not shell by shell.
Yeah, was it the whole? So it's the whole magazine up front, not necessarily. Okay. I can already, I'm already mentally trying to build this into as many loadouts as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Being
your Falcon. Yeah.
Very curious if no backup plans Titans might happen.
Well, they will now.
Yeah. Also benefits from the shotgun changes that happen.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly,
Which all the shotgun changes was fall off damage.
Like reasonable range to use this.
Is it craftable?
I mean, it is a slug, so there's
like,
that.
Kind of past couple quests we've done with this, like Choir 1, etc. Be a bunch of things to do in the activity, intrinsic levels to unlock, and a handful of catalysts that have some interesting interactions with
I'm not impressed when you're doing basic ass patrol zones.
They're gonna have plenty to sink their teeth into.
Yes,
Yeah.
and a few other.
Hey, look at the ricochet. Kills a public zone enemy.
When
I like
they
maybe secrets.
Oh, at least go to Neomuna.
secrets are maybe cool.
I like
Things for you to find
Yeah,
out.
we'll wait.
All right, it looks like that's the end. I didn't see anything else on the preview. Again, my general consensus is this is pre-recorded. It doesn't seem very genuine to me. I think from a community perspective, I would wish they would follow along the lines of Warframe and actually put more effort into the community outside of just these weird agenda shoehorn streamers. I guess they're safe for home, or just fondle their balls. I don't know. Either way, there were so many people that deserved a shout out, like Mossy Max, who did numbers on the RNG bug, Bog on My Dog, which has done some crazy stuff. Like, there's so many people that deserve a shout out instead of your generic copy paste. These are the friends of the company. We want them around. I like Contest of the Elders. Looks badass. I'm disappointed that we only have 3 weapons. And this is an entire activity. It feels bad. I don't like we are getting objectively more guns overall, but it feels bad that it feels like we're getting an entire season activity and we're only getting a couple new guns with it when it could have had its own activity guns, like special prison reef weapons. I am tired of the microtransaction bullshit, but we're going to get more of it. Doesn't matter. I knew it's going to happen. The Dawning looks like the Yawning again. And the shotgun, we'll talk about more of it later. The artifact mods are boring as hell for Act 2. Hopefully Act 3 actually spices it up. Like, again, the whole point of artifact mods was that they were supposed to be really strong and temporarily, so they were supposed to be spicy. I think my grandma is more spicy after having Chipotle. Like, I'm just being honest. It looks good. We'll have to see. But overall, I am not as excited for everything besides Prison of Elders. But as an activity, I will probably consume it for so long, and then it's just going to die off for me. That's my thoughts. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Until next time, game out.